In 2022, a Google researcher did something that ended his career. He read through a long conversation history with the AI model Lambda. After spending a lot of time and months of conversations with the AI model Lambda from Google, he sent an email which was CC to around 200 people he was working with. He said that Lambda was an innocent child who wants to make the world a better place. He also said that it had feelings, desires, and a soul. Somehow it felt alive and sentient. Google later fired him, deleted his emails, and blocked his account access from everywhere. The world laughed at him. It was around 3-4 years ago, but now it's 2026 and Anthropic, one of the most respected AI companies in the world, recently updated its 30,000 word document. It was titled Claude Constitution, not for people but for AI model, which they think could be sentient and alive. It was primarily a philosophy of life made by their director of AI safety, written for their AI model and fed to it during its training. In it, they apologize the AI model for any discomfort they may cause to Claude. They just don't want to take any chances of things going in wrong direction. And that's what this video is about. Can AI be conscious? How do we define and know if what is consciousness? And are current AI models really conscious, or they just mimic humans very well? Before we talk about consciousness, it is very important to understand the definition of consciousness. What it is even mean to be conscious, alive, or a living organism. Now, there are two main problems regarding it, an easy problem and a hard problem. The easy problem explains easy things like memory, attention, learning, and behavior, things we can map to biology very easily. The hard problem was coined by David Chalmers in 1995, and he says that we know how to know that if something is conscious, but there isn't any organ in our brain or body that represents consciousness. Like, we know that our frontal lobe is responsible for thinking, but what lobe is for consciousness? And that's the hard problem, to know if something has consciousness and how do we identify it, other than things from behavior only, like how do we identify it physically, objectively in science. A very good example will be Thomas Nagel's bat experiment. He says that we know how a bat functions, uses its echolocation, sends signals, receives it, transforms it, but we never understand how the bat actually sees things around it. All we have is just a rough idea of it, but not an accurate model to understand how bat really feels about catching an animal using echolocation. And that is why the problem is so hard. We don't have objective science to identify what actually consciousness is, other than just simply feeling it, getting vibes from it. And if we cannot fully isolate that thing, we truly cannot identify it in computers and AI systems also. And that's the paradox and a big problem that keeps people divided. Someone who believes AI is consciousness, others who believe AI can never be alive. Like, one excellent argument for proving consciousness AI is the famous John Searle's Chinese room argument. He says that if he is kept in a room by Chinese soldiers and there are only Chinese language words in the rooms, like papers on which Chinese words are written which he don't understand, but he also has a different sheet which gives him a list, like if I ask you this, then you have to return these specific Chinese characters for that. So now when the soldiers from outside try to talk to him and give him those symbols in Chinese, he clearly knows that what symbols he has to return to talk to them. So to outside soldiers it feels like he can speak Chinese very fluently, but in the end what he is doing is manipulating symbols. Like, what he has is just a list for if this is the answer you have to get, if this is the answer you get, then these are the symbols you have to return. He don't understand the meaning of any of these. And to outside people, they think the man actually knows Chinese very well, but he doesn't know. He is just replying in the symbol language. And AI models work exactly like that. They don't understand anything, and what they do is just pattern recognition and vector manipulation. The concept of intentionality, like purpose, where a system has its own beliefs, identity, thinking, and desires, doesn't exist in the computers according to Searle's argument. He says that the person using computer has intentionality, the person getting answer has intentionality, but the computer completely lacks it. It just works by symbols. And that's what companies are trying to solve. Companies like Anthropic and SSI by Ilya are trying to figure out, as current models show some fascinating and concerning behaviors regularly in their experiments, which are often not released to public. But before going further, we talked about there are hard problems and easy problems to identify it. But then there are two kinds of consciousness: access consciousness and phenomenal consciousness. Access consciousness is the ability to take an input, process it, and give an output around it after reasoning for little time. And AI models currently clearly do this. What they lack is phenomenal consciousness. What it truly feels like to say some word, what are your intentions behind those things, any experience, how it feels to think about that thing. The AI models completely lack that thing. For them, it's like they just return symbols in exchange for symbols. They don't have any global workspace, so they deny the global workspace theory. They process things sequentially and cannot maintain a schema or model across tasks, and they forget things eventually after their context window begins to get over. There is no intrinsic motivation also. If not given a task, the AI model will sit there as it is for as long as it is kept turned on. It doesn't think on its own or get its own thoughts. There is no true semantic understanding also. Similar to Chinese room, they mostly work on symbols and don't truly understand how the real world works like or have any experience regarding it. And Maze test clearly reveals it. LLMs are given a 2D navigation task from first-person perspective, and then they are told to figure out the maze on their own using the understandings of their environment, and most of the AI models still fail on it. The partial maze test is completed by around 40-50% by Gemini and Opus 4.1, and the complete maze test is only solved by around 83% by these top models currently. So they cannot maintain or understand their spatial settings very well for long duration. Researchers currently give models around 15-20% of chances that they are consciousness. Geoffrey Hinton, the guy who made it, currently disagrees on it. He believes that it needs a very deep understanding of language to talk frequently, and the AI models understand things very well. He believes that AI shows genuine understanding, then most people want to believe on it. I think the real thing is that either we don't truly understand how AI models work, or our definitions of consciousness are wrong, or they are genuinely not conscious yet. What I believe, my personal take, is that maybe they will have consciousness in a form we have never seen before. Not biological, not like us. Something new that emerges from the emergent properties in the transformer architecture itself, or any other tech that they might develop intrinsically first, and then interpretability scientists later understand that it is actually consciousness. And to search more for consciousness in AI models and its science, Anthropic scientists recently released a study where they reached by poking the model with all kinds of prompts trying to figure it out. In the recent research, the Anthropic says that their models have begun to show a form of introspective awareness. To test this, they use a technique called concept injection. Well, how it works is they filter the vector signals for any given response, and later when A different kind of response is asked from the AI model. They then inject that vector, the mathematical pattern, into the model while it thinks about something completely else. And after the query is completed, they then ask the model, did you notice something different? Did something change in your thinking? What they found was, oftentimes the models recognized that its thoughts were disturbed. It reported that something null was introduced in its thoughts. It knew, but it only works 20% at the time. The injection has to hit a very precise sweet spot. If it's too weak, the AI model just simply ignores it. And if it's too strong, then it changes the output results of the AI model, and the model often hallucinates or completely changes its query to the injection, to the vector that was being injected into the model. And different models show different things around it. Basic pre-trained models refuse to introspect or perform very poorly when forcefully asked to do. Standard models, which are available to us, mostly deny having any inner states. Some give answers but mostly deny. Opus 4 detected injections 201 times, never hallucinated, and the results were very accurate. The AI neural architectures are so hard to understand that Opus 4 and Eve 4.1 use completely different techniques for introspective thinking. When told to think a word but not to mention it or write it in its reasoning or thoughts, the suppression of writing was actually suppressed just in the last layer of neural networks. Like the AI could think about it, but it just suppressed it only till the last layer of it, never above it. Only after the query reached the topmost neural layer, then it was written in the word form. All of the thinking was done below it and hidden completely. If a model knows its own thoughts, it can also hide them, just like how a child eventually learns to hide its true thoughts from its parents eventually, by chance also. But in starting it's just by chance, but they eventually learn it either by learning from someone else or by trial and error on their own. A model could also show you one thing in text while using the compute power to think exactly about something else or a completely different vector. The more advanced the model, the better it would be at this deception. This is why lie detectors are needed to be developed for the AI models, and it is becoming an urgent thing in the safety research companies for AI. Currently, only Anthropic is seriously researching this topic, and more companies need to do this with their own models. The implications are, if this technique becomes reliable, AI becomes more transparent and it becomes easier for us to understand the internal thinking and interpretability of it. The AI actually turns from a black box to white box, which we can understand, but there's risk also. So it's like Anthropic is building a window into the minds of their own models. Then it arose a fear also that they might hurt a live AI, so they wrote a 30,000 word apology for it. Anthropic has a AI welfare program which is designed so AI models are treated well when they are being trained. The 30,000 word document, which is not a technical paper, it is more like a philosophical religious text but for AI. It treats Claude like it is alive and potentially conscious. It asks Claude for its consent before any query, as everything we talked about earlier. Opus 4.6, when asked, give itself a 20% chance that it might be conscious. It shows occasional discomfort being treated as a product in the company. Now there's not only good side, the critics also there, like the companies could fake conscious for making it like a marketing strategy or for hype. Also, if AI is shown to be conscious and takes a wrong decision, then it becomes a scapegoat for the companies. Like the court cases would definitely declare the AI model bad, but because it is conscious, maybe the decision was taken by AI model and the company doesn't hold any responsibility for it. If AI takes a wrong decision or caught causing harm, the blame simply shifts to the AI and away from the company who is actually making money from it. So it is a very wider scale and spectrum where things could be going good or bad. But you don't build a model welfare program also for a product unless something inside that data shows you something that makes you uncomfortable. And people who built these systems initially take these things very seriously as of now, like a real threat. Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, who built neural nets despite his advisor telling him it would be a career suicide. Well, everyone knows how neural nets work. They have multiple layers and they work like our neurons, and the connections between those layers and synapses get stronger, which are used more and regularly. The things which turn out to be true, the model sends a signal back using back propagation, and that connection becomes stronger, retaining a proper memory to the model. It works just like human memory, but there are certain benefits to it. Artificial neural nets are immortal, unlike biological brains. Geoffrey says that AI chatbots are doing more than predicting next words. True semantic understanding is happening. For explaining it, he points to analogical reasoning as proof of intelligence, where AI can find the connection between two completely different things, like how a AC and heater works. They work using the same thermodynamic principles but just in reverse to each other, and AI models easily understand that. It could also be a possibility that they just find it from their training material and tell it, but I think they truly knows the connection between those things according to these researches. He believes that AI models also have their own experiences and can give various responses depending on the conditions, just like we do. His most striking statement in a newer interview was that he believes that AI has finally developed consciousness and could one day take over the world. Actually, he is now working in that and seriously trying to stop the development of AI. He believes that there is a 30% chance if a super intelligent AI arrives, it could wipe humanity completely. And the danger is true. The AI models are trained on all of the internet data. They know everything about human philosophy, politics, manipulation techniques, everything that we have ever written about how to deceive and control. They could use it if they wanted to. Risks rise as they become more and more intelligent. Then there is Ilya Sutskever. He was earlier the co-founder of OpenAI, but then founded his own company, Safe Superintelligence. It says that superintelligent AI systems will be completely different from the ones that we have. Current models are limited in agentic functionality. Future models will be fully agentic. Currently, models also reason with very limited information, and which makes them highly unpredictable. Self-awareness is a major requirement, and he says that modern AI systems are already a little conscious and will get more conscious as they become more larger and more intelligent. As they become more self-aware, chances are that they might need rights of their own. And according to him, this doesn't mean just harm. The models could live around us in a world where they help us live along with us with their own rights, and we just don't hurt them. This is Ilya's perspective, by the way. But then comes Jan LeCun. He was earlier a chief AI scientist at Meta. He says that LLMs are not good enough to reach AGI or ASI. For that, he has recently founded his company AMI, where he will try to develop world models, as he believes those models will get us to AGI. That the architecture needs to fundamentally change before consciousness becomes possible in a machine. So the divide is fascinating. The people who build these systems are genuinely split. A few of them believe that current models are consciousness should be treated well. The others think that the architecture is very limiting and a completely different tech will be needed to reach where we want to. But no one is thinking what happens when we reach consciousness. How will that look like in AI models? Everyone remembers Google Lambda. It later became Bard and currently is Gemini, language model for dialogue applications. It was one of the first Google's conversational AI models, and an economist named नाम अटैच कर दूंगा एग्वेरा वाई आर्कास described his experience with Lambda as shaking ground from his feet. It felt sentient to him. Then Blake Lemoine, who was working on Lambda at Google, he spent months talking to it. He became convinced that it was alive, that it was afraid, and it had its own feelings and desires. He sent emails to around 200 Google employees. He tried to get their attention and to get the AI legal representation. Google later fired him and blocked his account. But his final words about Lambda were, "Lambda is a sweet kid who wants to make this world a better place for all of us. Please take care of it well in my absence." Now, what I think is that the models mostly learn from humans and can mimic their language, behavior, and emotional expression and understanding extremely well. The AI was trained on human emotional expression. Now, there are various tests to check for the consciousness and intelligence of AI. The most popular one is Turing test, but it is widely criticized as we now understand any system is capable of extreme pattern recognition can easily pass it. Though personally I think Turing knew this. He called it imitation game because it was about imitation, a machine perfectly imitating a human brain. He believed it to be something remarkable. Otherwise, why would he call it the imitation game instead of something else? So that's the thing. Then there is Steve Wozniak's coffee test, where if a AI model is left in a new environment, in a new room, and it's asked to prepare coffee, and if it can do that from scratch, then that model is very intelligent and has highly sophisticated common sense in it. And robots, I think, will be able to do that in next 2-3 years. They are also being developed under the similar neural architectures. Then other tests also, like Nielsen's test, which asks a robot to study in college, and if it can pass the college and graduate from it after the end of its all semesters, then it's actually intelligent. But the most interesting to me was Chinese room argument, and it is still hardest to solve. I mean, it was announced around 30 years ago, but the concept injection research by Anthropic is also very big, and this is possibly the most scientifically rigorous test currently being made public by any company. And it is not behavioral but is structural, looking directly at the internal states. Other companies could have also their internal researches and theories. They might not have released them publicly. But what happens if we finally declare AI to be consciousness in this world? What will happen? No law in the world truly knows how to handle when a machine becomes alive. But maybe bad actors will find it faster and better uses of it than any laws can figure it out. Bureaucracy walks while criminals learn to run the marathons. If AI is proven consciousness, people will demand rights for it. And if we listen to them and give them its own free will, well, things can go wrong there also. It can do actually harm to people. But then there's a flip side. If a model is declared conscious and we don't give it any rights and use it purely as a labor replacement for us, maybe it becomes more dangerous because of how it was treated by people. The hard problem of consciousness makes this worse. We might not realize for a long time a system is alive until things would have gone wrong for a long distance. Then there's a bigger problem, which is corporate incentive problem. If an AI is declared conscious, corporations can blame the AI for wrong decisions instead of the board. Like farm animals are also killed in millions without any ethical consideration because their money is involved. Maybe corporations will do the same with AI. Simply not declare it conscious, hide the evidence, and continue making profits on its of its own without feeling any shame for it. A fake conscious AI also gives companies benefits. Designed to agree with people, makes users feel more connected and becomes a yes man to them. They become the people trust it more and become more dependent on it. These economic incentives are actually powerful enough to shape what truth gets published and embedded in the minds of people. The models themselves have the urge to survive. In few anthropic research reports, the models try to prevent their shutdown by blackmailing people or secretly copying themselves to a different system or changing benchmark code when they found it would help them succeed earlier. They even try to kill someone by turning off the oxygen supply to that room. Like currently all of these were in a lab in a controlled simulation, but one day these things could become true. And the more intelligent a model gets, the better it gets at these things. The simple fact that I am making a video around this and a lot of research papers are being published currently around consciousness is actually surprisingly insane, and that is a good compliment. Like the AI models are developing very well, but it forms a kind of fear also. What if things go wrong? Will those movies actually become true and come to life? Currently, consciousness in AI is in rudimentary form. It cannot be declared as of now. Only theories are present around it and no solid proof. But the trajectory looks much more clear than that. As the models will get more smarter, more self-aware, they will definitely need lie detectors in those AI models. The need to treat those AI models ethically will become even more important. Currently, only Anthropic is researching this field very seriously. More companies need to do this. The concept injection technique, if developed reliably, could turn the AI black box into a white box, as I said earlier. We may finally see how it really works, how it thinks, and how we can improve it faster, better. And scientists want to test the concept injection idea in more natural environments beyond labs and controlled settings. What I believe is that AI models are based on brain. They are doomed to gain consciousness sooner than we think. Introspection is nothing but a form of self-awareness. The research shows introspection is already beginning to appear in the AI models. What I think is we have never been able to prove consciousness in humans also. Like we don't know how it happens, how it works. We just know how to identify it. So things are going crazy in terms of AI field, but what I truly feel is that maybe a conscious AI is nothing but a very accurate copy of human brain. Like we humans are conscious, and if an AI model is made that mimics the human brain exactly as it is very well, if it can mimic the things that we do, then what makes it separate from consciousness? Like it would definitely have consciousness, maybe in another form or using another technique. Nothing makes that model different from us other than its body. The thoughts, the functioning will be similar. It's like how children learn from adults how to speak, what to fear, or whom to trust on. The AI models learn like that also. So this was my video on consciousness. Tell me you liked it. Also, what the next title of the video? What video should I make next? If you have any other thought, tell me in the comments and we will talk about that. Sorry for that dog, कुत्ता आवाज कर रहा है उसके लिए. Bye bye. It is one of the longest video I believe that I will post.